guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm going back to my regular format of shooting videos. Today's video, however, isn't one that you guys have requested. I just thought, with me having started a new job in the area of mental health, that I would touch on a subject and sort of delve into a subject that is something I've been covering in my job. I thought that might be quite interesting, and I'm going to shine a light on a theory around mental health that isn't really talked about that often, maybe because it's quite up and coming, but it's something that applies to mental illness in varying degrees. I'm going to be talking about mentalizing today, which is basically a theory, an underpinning theory that helps us understand how to regulate extremities of emotion. So obviously, mental illness, the huge umbrella term of mental illness, includes things such as depression, anxiety, borderline personality disorders, a variety of personality disorders, bipolar, schizophrenia, OCD, eating disorders, and many, many more. And in all of these things that affect us within our lives, these mental illnesses can cause us extremities of emotion, whether that be anger or sadness. And these extremities of emotion and these bursts of strong, strong feelings can cause us to want to take action and to act on these impulses and these urges in quite immediate ways. And often these feelings can't always be explained in a rational way. And so mentalizing teaches us to recognize and think about our own emotions. Think of it as hitting the pause button, which sounds far easier than it is, and it does take a lot of practice. I can think of a lot of times in my life where I would have benefited from this, being able to pause and tolerate a feeling, maybe a strong feeling of anger, or an overwhelming feeling of not being able to cope with a situation. So you're stuck in this fight or flight kind of scenario where you feel like you have to either lash out or to storm out and leave the situation. It isn't always the case that you have to take an immediate action or make the strongest decision that you can in that sense, which is often very tempting. Mentalizing teaches us to sit and to recognize that it's okay to have those feelings and to think about those feelings and where those are coming from. It can help us to learn to deal with confrontation better. If it was something confrontational that was causing those feelings, whether just in yourself or with another person or a group of people, it can teach us to relate to others more, and I'll maybe touch on that a little bit more later. It can really help your relationships with people and just help you to manage your mental illness, whether or not you're actively recovering from that mental illness. And it's okay to not be. It's okay to not feel like you're progressing, and maybe you're just surviving day to day. But even if you are just surviving day to day, these extremities of emotion are very normal, even though they may make you feel like you are out of the ordinary for having these strong, strong impulses, these strong emotions. Sometimes they can take the form of intrusive thoughts, which are horrible, and I have experienced them myself. Trigger warning now just for talking about very sort of negative impulses and impulses to harm. But intrusive thoughts don't always mean that you're going to act on that thought, but they are thoughts of causing harm to yourself, causing harm to others, maybe just something extremely violent, something really abstract. It could be anything really, but it's intrusive, implying it is a thought that is not welcome, but it just happens. And mentalizing is something that can really help with this, because it's enhancing and practicing your ability to deal with that, not to panic, knowing that that feeling will pass and that you can tolerate this feeling. Again, hitting the pause button. Things that can help you to be able to mentalize with other people and to empathize with them, and in turn have them empathize with you. are practices like letting your walls down. And this is where I've seen this used in my job. I've seen it used in occupational therapy, which is of course what I do. I've seen it used in art therapy. I've seen it used in dance and movement therapy. One really interesting example I saw was actually a collaboration between art therapy and occupational therapy, and this was in a physical form where you have a box and everyone else in the group has a box, and on the inside you put all the things that you are feeling, all the emotions that you have, and the things that you think about those emotions. So for me, on my box, I was writing how I was really feeling about my new job, the things that I was dealing with, the things that I felt that I was out of my depth in relation to, and the things that I really wanted to open up about and tell people about, but I wasn't. And then on the outside, you put what you are showing the rest of the world, what everyone else is able to see. And that differed so much from what was on the inside for everyone in the group, not just for myself, but for me, I was seeing that what I was presenting to the outside of the world is a much more smoothed over, I'm dealing with this. And not even just the rest of the world, this was only in the circumstance and the context of my work. But that meant that they are not able to mentalize with me. They aren't able to relate to me on a human level unless I, which I did in this session, relate to them by expressing these emotions, because I have come to understand them myself from making this box, from making something physical. And it might not be a box, it might be a diary, you might have columns, you could do it in any way. You might not even write it down, you may not be a sort of person that likes to write something down. You could type it up, you could do whatever you wanted, but I found this form particularly just enlightening for me in showing how it's so easy to think that you are coming across as someone that's easily read and easily understood, but really you have these walls up. And it could be for a very good reason. A lot of people do have walls up, but sometimes it can prevent you from building those relationships and from understanding others who may also have walls up. And so for this reason, I just think mentalizing is a hugely, hugely interesting practice. And so I've talked about it a little bit today. And it's just going to be a short video today. I'll put some resources in the description just because it's so interesting. And if you do find what I've been talking about today interesting, please ask questions, have a look at the resources that I'm going to pop in the description. Like I say, I'm finding severe and enduring mental health tough. It is tough going, but again, as I hope has come across in this video, it's so, so interesting. And it really is the area that I'm so passionate about working in. Not only to break down the stigma of mental health, but to help people like myself, like I have been helped by the people that have given me counselling, given me therapy, like my friends that have helped me along the way. I've received so much help and I just want to give back in that way. So, and I hope that I'm able to do this to do that through these videos as well. Thanks very much for listening to me today, guys. I hope you found it interesting. If you have any ideas for future content, obviously today I picked the topic myself. Usually I take suggestions from you guys and what you guys would find interesting. So yeah, it's been really good to speak to you, and I'll see you later. Bye.